Hey y'all, it's your girl Mia.
And Whitney. Welcome to the Black Coffee and Tea Podcast,
where you get your weekly dose of top stories, girl talk, and everything in between.
This is where you come when you need your coffee,
but want that tea. So get ready.
Next episode starts now. All right. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Thanks for tuning into the Black Coffee and Tea Podcast. We have a special guest today, Miss Lakara Foster. She is known as the Black Girl Medium, the host of a new reality show called The Gift, where she shares her psychic abilities with the world. So thank you so much, Lakara, for coming on today. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you all so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. So just so our viewers know, where are you located right now?
I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, you're from New Orleans and you live in Atlanta. Okay. Cool. I used to go to school at Georgia State, so I know all about it. Yeah, okay. So, cool. So just so people, whatever I missed in your intro, do you mind giving us like just your own little background? Wow, nice. So just to jump in, how did you first realize that you were a medium or you had, psychic abilities?
Don't mind at all. Let's see here. Again, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I attended Florida A&M University, so I'm a Rattler, graduate of FAMU. My degrees are in psychology and criminal justice undergrad. I have a counseling degree, and I'm currently getting my doctorate in ministry. So I am a minister and I am a medium. Well, I think as a child, I'm not sure that I recognized that that's what it was, and I definitely didn't have the language to communicate that. But I did know that I think I was aware that I knew things and I would see things before they would happen. But as a child, I just kind of thought everybody kind of had the ability to do that. And I do believe that my psychic abilities were a lot were stronger, or I think that I probably was tapped into them more than I was the medium part. Mm-hmm. That part kind of kicked in maybe 1920.
So what's the difference for people who don't really know? What's the difference between psychic and mediumship?
Thank you for asking. Absolutely. So psychic is pretty much an umbrella term, if you would. And so there's a lot of different things that fall under psychic or having psychic ability. So you can be clairaudient, where you hear things, clairvoyant, where you kind of know things, clairsentient, where you smell things.
Wow.
So there's a lot that falls under the psychic part. The mediumship part is when you have the ability to communicate with energies that have, or loved ones who have departed. That's the best way that I can explain that.
Okay, people who've passed on. Okay.
Yeah, all psychics aren't mediums, but all mediums are psychics.
Got it. Okay, psychic's more of like a broad umbrella, and then you got okay, got it.
Right. More specific. Gotcha. Okay. So
like if you have, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. We were waiting. Yeah, go finish.
It's like if you have with my psychic abilities, I'm able to see things that have happened, they are happening, or that they will happen. And not that I can necessarily predict the future. I can just kind of tell people what I see from an energetic perspective. And I can't smell in my waking life. I kind of lost the ability to smell right around 27.
Wow.
But when spirit wants me to communicate something very specifically, that's the only way I can smell. So I'll know if a loved one smokes cigars or cigarettes, or if grandma's telling me she made cornbread, that's the only time I can smell.
Are you? Oh my God. So medically you cannot smell unless there's some messages coming in, then you are given your smell back.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's amazing. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Ask if it somehow, if it affects my taste, but it doesn't affect, the taste of food or anything at all.
Oh, thank you, God. That's amazing. Yeah, I need that taste.
You're gonna be able to taste my food, Oh man. So how did you get started? What were you doing prior? I'm sure you may still have a day job, or is this your full-time job, or what were you doing before What are you doing now? How did you get started with the whole medium? You know, when did that turn for you?
So and I love that question. I have been practicing pretty much in private for the last 20 years. I have clients like literally, when I say all over the world, like all over the world.
Wow.
And so I would work on referrals. I never did any advertising, never did, anything like that. And so when people would come to me or people would call, I knew that they knew what I did. So, and that they were receptive to it.
Wow.
And so that, or not even prior to, along this whole time, I've had like multiple jobs, if you will. My career was in counseling. So I was a guidance counselor for about 15 years. But I've always done this.
Wow.
And, people was I doing it in private? Or was I hiding rather? And I'm like, no, I wasn't hiding. It's just what I was doing. And so it really wasn't until recently, as of last year, like the end of last year, and I think it kind of all segued in terms of like my ministry and becoming a minister and being in school, and kind of God just kind of saying all of this needs to be integrated. Like none of this needs to be separated. Like there's no separation between the minister and the medium, and here's why. And so really kind of going on my journey through my doctoral program, my dissertation or my project report is based in James 1:17 that says every good and perfect gift is from above. So all of our gifts are from God. So God was saying like, we don't have to separate this. And not that I ever felt like I was, but now I'm able to articulate that even better. So I am a full-time medium. This is what I do full-time. And I'm also an author. So yeah.
Wow. So you mentioned that you felt like, well, not that you were hiding it, but it wasn't widely known at first. So who did you tell first about your gift? Like who was that first person that you kind of like confided in to tell?
So it's so interesting because it's like, I think as a kid, I feel like my brothers might have known something because I would kind of tell them like, and I said this before, like if my mom like was trying to catch us doing something, she might be like, well, I'll be home in an hour, and I'd be like, she lying, y'all. Like she's 5 minutes away. Like
I do that now.
I didn't really get in trouble a lot because I just kind of knew like, okay, if you don't sneak out, like you need to be home by like this time because this when things go, they're gonna wake up or something.
Yeah.
Like it just was. I just kind of knew that. But I think as far as the mediumship part, I had a friend in college who was really grieving, and I didn't really talk about the fact that. And when I say I could see, the departed, like I can't see them with my physical eyes. And I try the best way I can try to explain it to people is, if I told you, imagine a puppy, you could actually imagine a puppy, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the way that I see when I say I see. And so she was grieving, for a couple of weeks, and I would always be like her aunt there. And then one day I just kind of started communicating to her, like, listen, like your aunt is in the room. This is what she's wearing. This is how she passed. And so I think that she was kind of like the first person.
Wow.
And from there, it's kind of like, she told somebody, and now here we are.
And your family, did they always accept it, or did they have questions about it?
And so, no. Okay. So my mom, she's so funny. So I have other people in my family who have similar gifts. My mom, she told me when my mom's aunt in particular, my aunt Elday, she had a gift in her, but hers was a little bit different. And as a kid, like I would see people come and visit her all the time. But, it's like a kid, you're not really going to ask questions and stuff like that. You kind of stay in a child's place, but you just, you see white people, you see Chinese people, you see black people, and they like always like, they're going in the room with her, and then they, they come out or whatever. And I kind of intuitively knew something special was happening. She kind of had that thing about her. And so when I was in college, my mom was like, she just kind of told me, she's like, your aunt has a gift and she's getting older. And, everyone is wondering, who's going to have the gift next or who's it going to be passed to.
Wow.
And she said, and they're thinking that it's going to be you. And I was like 19, 20. And she said, and I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, but your aunt, she didn't drink or smoke or party. So I was like, I don't want that gift. So.
He's still trying to get lit. Nice.
Right. So, I was
Yeah.
So from there, what was so interesting, as I am finding out now, 20-something years later, is that my father also has the gift.
Wow.
And so, so he sees things, and he sees things, but he dreams more. So our loved ones come to him in dreams and communicate with him in dreams. And it's so interesting because now it's kind of like, we kind of like the dynamic duel, you know.
Yeah.
It's like they might come to me in the waking, you know, with a message, and then they'll come to him in the dream with the same exact message.
Wow. It's in the bloodline. It's in the bloodline.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Very cool. I actually have a question as it's related to, like, you know, faith-based. So you are going to school for, what is it? What do you call it? It's ministry, but isn't it called, it starts with a D.
Doctorate in ministry.
Yes, doctorate in ministry. And so I'm sure you are, you know, obviously you have to be a spiritual person connected to in some sort of way. I don't know what your background is as far as like Christianity, you know, Baptist, anything like that. But how do church people, for a better term, how do they receive you? I mean, whether it's your family members that maybe are like super, super church driven, or people that you know that know about your gift, how do they receive the gift that you have? Is it in a negative way because they don't understand it? Do they feel as though it's a sin to kind of feel and know things about the dead? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that look like?
Right. You know, that's a very good question. Much like my own family, like they have been so super supportive. I think I've I'll say this much. I didn't grow up in the church.
Gotcha.
So when I probably only distinctly remember going to church a handful of times as a kid. My father grew up in the church. My grandmother grew up in the church. You know, I was very, very active in the church. But my parents didn't really impose that on us, which I think was really a part of God's divine design, so that I wouldn't have to do all of this unconditioning growing up. And so even being in the church that I'm in, it's a very affirming church. And I honestly didn't worry. So I knew that, you know, everybody was going to find out when the show came out, The Gift, which is on YouTube. And so my main concern, you know, being a licensed minister at my church, I wanted to have the conversation with my bishop. And I did, you know, and he was very supportive. And mainly because, you know, it's kind of like this thing that I think he just kind of got it, right? In terms of, I believe that as a race, as a culture, we are evolving, and as we are evolving, we are reclaiming parts of our identity, right? So I believe that it's kind of like the term Sankofa, which means to go back and get it, right? If you ever see that little Indinkra symbol with the bird with the head turned backwards and it has like get the egg off or whatever. That it needs to go back and get it. And so I feel like as a culture, as an African people in America, we are going back to get what was ours and reclaiming that. And I think that these gifts are a part of that identity. You know, one of my favorite people in the world, Dr. Daniel Black, he's an author, a profound, prolific author. And if you watch the show, he's actually in episode 6 of the show, where he's kind of talking about how this thing in ancient Africa, he's basically saying, like, this would not have been special, right? Like, everyone had gifts.
Been
right?
tuned in,
So, yeah, you know, and we celebrated these gifts, and this is who we were, but obviously coming to America and being colonized and being told, oh, you know, these gifts are the devil, or these gifts are, you know, being demonized and bastardized, then, you know, we're coming up off of that, you know? It's like, even from Christianity perspective, when we look at, because I literally just wrote an article, and it starts with, I'm a medium and a minister. I love Oshun and Jesus, right? Like, looking at, you know, that I don't have to choose between Jesus and my gifts, because if I study the word, I can look in the word and I can see, you know what, Jesus was a medium too. You know, Jesus was walking on water, and Jesus was turning water to wine. And so there's a metaphysical aspect to that it's almost like we don't want to talk about.
That's so true.
You know, but I'm not afraid to talk about it, you know. And so, but to answer the question, my fellow church members have been so supportive and so encouraging, and they watch the show and they send me messages, of encouragement. And I just don't think that with like anything else in my life, I wasn't seeking approval for it. I wasn't seeking affirmation for it. Like my mother will tell you, even as a child, everything has been like, this is what it is. Everyone will live, I promise.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's a blessing. You had so much support. Because I mean, growing up, I've heard like, oh, that witchcraft and don't believe in that. And, it's just a lack of knowing, I think, especially like from the older generations too sometimes. But
well, I think there's this whole perspective too of people just not being as open to what they don't know. And it's like, I've never heard of this. And the things that I have heard have been scary. It's freaked me out. And instead of people doing more research about what they don't know, and that's in any topic, they just kind of shun it, And so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think the main message that I love to give people and to really help them, and as people watch the show, it's really that our loved ones are always with us. And I always say you don't have to consult a medium to know that, right? If you really felt it and tapped into it, and they're always trying to communicate with us, and they're always trying to let us know that they're guiding us.
Yep.
And I talk particularly and speak to the movie The Black Panther, which I thought was like God really setting this thing up, like. Because I was like, God, okay, so you want me to tell the whole world about this gift. Okay, how we going to do that, right? So I started watching God really set this thing up. And so when the Black Panther movie came out and we were talking, we're looking at the main characters having to go and reconnect to the ancestors to get the answers.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
so true.
It's like, oh my gosh. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm saying you're right. You're right. When I think about it and you put it in that way, that's he was connecting.
Yeah, right. To get the answers, to get the strength, to get the guidance. And so I feel like that's where we are now. Like that's an element that we've been missing, is to get that knowledge that our ancestors have for us. And so what I think was kind of unique about my situation, especially as it relates to grief and healing and connection, is that I try to emphasize the layers, to all of this. I was doing a show on last week when we were talking about grief during the holidays. And, and I'm one of those people, I'm like, there is a place for ministry because I'm a minister. There is a place for therapy because I have, my degrees in counseling. But there's also a place for spirituality as well.
Yeah. And
tapping into these gifts that we have and just saying, like, it's nothing spooky. It's nothing scary. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't wear a turban.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can talk to spirits, because they're always around, and tap in just as easy as I'm talking to you, because I understand that all we are energy.
Yep.
We're energy before we enter these bodies, while we're in them, and when we leave them. And
right.
my unique gift is to be able to communicate with that energy, because even from a Christian perspective, and this is a revelation that I had last week, was and I was at a funeral, is that the choir is singing this song called Everlasting Life, and God was saying, how will they know that there's everlasting life and that I've kept my promise if you don't show them?
Wow.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's loaded.
Yeah, it's heavy. What do you say, or have you ever come across anyone who is like a complete non-believer? Like they don't believe you, you're making it up. Like, how do you react to that type of energy?
Honestly, like I've never had that.
Oh
Right?
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I never have, and that's not to say that won't happen. But what's so interesting, right, is that I had like a couple that came over for a reading, and I did like the whole entire reading, and they're crying and I'm crying, and the energies are coming through and everything. And then at the end, the guy goes, I was totally skeptic of this whole thing. I was like, well, I'm glad you let me know at the end, because I feel like that energy changes everything.
Definitely.
So he didn't let me know until the end. So I've never had anyone to kind of come right out and say, well, I don't believe you, because I'm not really in the business of trying to prove people.
Right.
Like I always think you'll prove yourself right. Like you don't believe nothing's gonna happen. So, and that's okay.
Yeah. And plus you have a lot of like internal clients that are usually referred, so they already believe anyway. For the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Or people will see the show and then then they'll call. They'll kind of see some clips on YouTube, and then they'll call, because I just feel like there's certain things that you can't fake. So if you see the show and you kind of see the reaction from people, it's like I'll watch it again and again and again. There are like certain scenes and certain things that it just like really still moves me. Because even like when I'm doing a reading, like I'm there, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
So to go back and watch it and fully be present in the moment, it's just kind of like, oh my God, that was so sad. Like,
oh. Okay, nice.
I had a question. So during your readings, do you ever, or is there ever a time where you feel like a bad presence or a negative energy, something maybe less than, what you would consider love? And if so,
scary.
If so, if you go ahead. Oh, and then I was saying, if so, do you communicate this to your clients?
So I think in that, again, when I talk about these gifts that we have, and I talk about different levels of psychic ability or mediumship, I believe that I'm only called to deal with the light. I do believe that there are others who are called to deal with the darkness and can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, God and consciousness knows that that's not my lane. That's the best way I could put it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I do, I study and I do research, and, I try to understand it just as much as other people try to understand it. And I think that one of the things that I'm learning, is that everything is kind of dimensional, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we live in we kind of live in a 3D world, so that, as far as we know, obviously there are other dimensions that go up to like 10 or 11, which would kind of be considered like the angelic realm or heaven, if you will.
Yeah.
But energies go down as far as one, right? A one
Mm-hmm.
dimension, which is really like the spirit of jealousy and envy and rage. And so because I'm not vibrating on that level, I don't connect with spirits.
You don't connect on that level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense how you broke it down.
Yeah. And nor do I want to. I like this light thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried. I'm like, if I see the wrong thing, I may not never share my shit again.
Like, my friends know I am scary. Like, I'm not watching no scary movies. Like, my best friend loves horror movies. Like, she knows I can even watch the commercial, the trailer to a horror movie.
Wow. It's best just to close that out of your psyche. Yep. Yeah.
So honestly, you don't have to turn on a preview or a movie anymore. You can just turn on the news. This world is just scaring the crap out of you.
I don't watch the news. I honestly have not watched the news since that guy was elected president.
Yeah, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, I don't watch.
Okay, you are people. You are our people.
Yeah.
So I want to take this left gear real quick. So our show, we talk a lot about dating, relationships. So are you, if you don't mind sharing, are you single? Are you married? Are you?
I am single. And ready
Okay. So I was wondering, like, how do you intertwine that, your gifts? Because it's like, if you meet someone, do you want to tell them, but you don't want to tell them too soon because they might not understand it. Like, how do you work that into dating?
Girl, listen, I come right out the back like this. I'm like, if your grandma's done with a message, like, I'm gonna get it to you. So
Okay.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough, like, dating is not impacted by dating at all. Like that, like psychic mediumship ain't the problem with my dating. Okay.
Okay.
But that ain't it. No.
Okay.
Yeah, fortunate enough.
No.
I mean, are vibing and kind of understand it, and they're not weirded out by it at all.
Good. I mean, I was wondering if, at least you attract honest guys, I would think, after that, because they're like, shoot, I can't mess around with her. She's psychic. I ain't even gonna try it.
And that's kind of unfortunate for them. That I am able to see everything. But I've been single for 3 years, just kind of working on myself. And
Girl.
So the next time, my friends laugh at me. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna be engaged in 6 months. They're like, how, Sway? Like, you ain't even dating nobody. I
said that about me in a year. 1 year, I'm gonna be engaged.
Okay, listen.
So let's just keep the hope alive. We're going to keep the hope alive.
Manifest.
Okay, Mia, you have any more questions?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess the only other question that I really have is what do you plan on in, like, what kind of plan do you see for yourself as far as, you know, with this gift? I know that this is now your full-time job, but I guess what do you envision for your gift? Like, do you plan on, you know, having people under you that share those same qualities and taking this like globally, or are you just kind of like, no, you know, I really want to stay a one person, you know, business and then just grow it as big as I can? Like, what do you see for yourself with this gift on a bigger scale or bigger platform than now?
Oh, you guys asked like the best questions.
Oh, thank you.
You said, yes, absolutely. First of all, I see the show being on the ON network. So I'm like, anybody that knows Oprah, go on and plug that thing.
Yes.
And yes, I see it being on the ON network, but I also more than anything want to be able to travel and do tours where I can, you know, help people. And I love the Long Island Medium, and I actually went to see her live. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like you will go for the experience, and like while you may not get a personal reading, you feel the energy, you see the reaction of the people, you know that their loved ones have shown up, and you see the healing that takes place. And so for me, like more than anything, that is the most important thing. Is this is my calling, and this is my calling to help heal the world. And I think that we're all called to help heal the world. I think that like this gift of mine is like, this is the way God says, this is what I want you to do. And so I don't know, you know, if it will be, I have a team of people that I'm working with. I don't know, you know, I know people kind of talk about, or I see other people have like psychic development classes. Like, I'm like, I don't know how that works. I don't know how to tell someone people to develop their psychic abilities. Like, I really don't. So I don't know, you know, that would be something that I would do. I mean, but hey, if the universe said so, then I definitely would venture into that. But as of right now, I you know, do this. I'm doing the show. We're preparing for a tour. We're actually going into season 2, filming of season 2 as of February, and we're filming the whole entire season in New Orleans. And
nice.
And the tour that we're going to do is actually going to kick off in New Orleans. And so, you know, we're just building this thing slowly, but just honestly, the opportunity to serve and to heal people and to watch people heal, it is the most fulfilling thing I've ever experienced. And I think that I've experienced a lot of different things in my lifetime. But being able to do this and being able to authentically walk and unapologetically walk and say, this is it. You know, this is it. I'm not doing real estate no more. I'm not doing, you know, guidance counseling no more.
Yeah.
As poor as I am, if I didn't have any degrees, you know, this is who I would be. This is how I would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you talk about, you know, your gift making room for you, this is my gift, and I'm watching it make all the room that I need, and it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, like congratulations. It's so beautiful that you can actually live and survive and, you know, not have to have like another job to support you. Like you're literally living off of your gift. So
absolutely. And I think that's what we're all supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so like when people see, so they'll see, you know, some of the people that I connect with, is that the show is not just about my gift, but it's also about, like, the first season, I kind of worked with a lot of different entrepreneurs. And so, and their business picks up, you know, they got extra clients and stuff from people who saw the show, and I got clients. And so people kind of got to experience their gift as well as my gift. And so, again, like, really showing people not just healing, but also having the courage to operate in our gifts, you know, and not to look for other people to affirm for you or confirm for you, like what God already told you you are.
Yep. Wow. Yeah. I think it'd be amazing. I would love for you to get picked up because I remember growing up and I have seen the Long Island Medium. I've seen a few other people, I think, that were like on talk shows and such, but never a Black woman. And I think that's, you know, profound to have you, and you would open up the doors for so many other people who may be, you know, having these gifts too, but it's not really accepted in our community that much. So I'm glad that's like starting to change and people are starting to like open up a bit more.
I think so. When I said people thinking, they'd be like, "Oh, she's regular." Like, yep, no surfing, no crystal ball. Sorry, it's just it.
It's just you. Yep.
Yeah.
Dope. Okay. Well, we do have some time, so I don't know if you felt any message. Can you read over the phone, or do you get channeled messages?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
We're open.
Like my work over the phone. And I just ask for people to be open to receiving the messages. And if you all are, then we can certainly see what we can come up with. Is there somebody that you all in particular that you all wanted to connect with? And I can tell you, wait, hold on. I got to know who I'm talking to, because one of you sound very close and one of you sound very kind of a little far away.
Okay. This is Whitney. I'm the one who's calling you direct. I'm the one who sounds close. And then
Mia's the further away person.
And so the way it works, have either of you guys had a reading before?
I've had not really. It was like a test, or I called in somewhere and it turned into something that I didn't think it was going to turn into. I think I've kind of had a reading, not legitimate though.
And then Mia, have never had a reading.
Yeah, I'm Whitney. I'm very open. I read tarot cards. I'm super open to spirituality. Mia is a little
I'll say this much. I'm trying to kind of see who's coming through here, or somebody's going to come through. So Whitney, and so here's the, because I have both of you over the phone. If I'm saying something about like Whitney and Mia, you're like, no, it's me. Like, just chime in, okay?
Okay.
But I feel like this is kind of directing first to Whitney. And so what happens is I'm over here and I have my notebook out, and the spirit allows me to draw signs and symbols that mean something to me, and then I'll communicate that to you. And so, for example, the first thing that they're making me draw is a house, right? And so house for me is my symbol of like transition or movement. So it could mean like a physical move, whereas you're literally either thinking about moving or you just move physically, or like there's a major transition happening in your life, like going back to school or moving jobs or something. Would that be true for either one of you?
Yeah, probably both of us. I'm always moving. You about to get married.
Yeah, I am about to get married. That's a huge transition.
Huge life transition, yeah.
Oh wow, who's about to get married? Mia?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. When's the wedding?
March 1st, 2019.
So March 1st. Mia, is there a mother figure or grandmother figure that's on the other side for you?
On the other side.
That's departed?
Yeah, my grandma, she's dead.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to put a question mark right there because I want to come back to that. And tell me this. Okay, so what happens is sometimes before I'm getting ready to do an interview, there'll be things that'll be like energies that'll be in the room, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if these energies are belonging to the people that I'm about to talk to or reading for later, but there has been a young male that is departed that has kind of been with me today. Is that for either of you all, the young male that has departed?
A young male?
Young male.
And by young, I mean like 20s, at best like early 30s.
30s, 30.
No.
Okay, so the young male doesn't belong to either one of you. And I feel like he passed, and this is one of these things, I may have to call you guys back and be like, I found this young male. But they passed, like really, I feel like they passed in like some type of accident that has to do with like a motorcycle or like motor vehicle accident.
Wow.
Whoa. Motorcycle.
And that doesn't belong to either one of you all?
No, not me.
Okay. Alrighty. And I promise I'll call you back if I
Please do. Stay in touch, yes.
No, it does. It happens like this all the time, and I'm just like, okay, he's coming through, and he has not left me since this morning.
Wow, he got a message.
Yeah,
I'm saying he has a message for somebody.
Yes. And I was like, I'm just gonna ask around until I find him. Mia, did your grandma pass? Is this your paternal grandmother?
So actually, I have a grandmother that I never met on my paternal side, and then on my maternal side, my grandmother passed, and I have met her, but she was much older when I was, born, and I think she died when I was like 10.
Okay, because this is the maternal grandmother who passed when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
So this must be. So you said you were 10.
Mm-hmm.
Did one of you all just finish school or getting ready to go back to school? Because they're bringing up school.
No.
It's been a few years.
I'm done with school.
It's been about a few years. It's since graduate school.
Yeah, I graduated graduate school in 2016, so 20.
Oh, good, 2 years ago. Okay, and so Mia, this is still coming in for you, and I'm gonna tell you what's happening here. So grandmother is saying that she's gonna be at the wedding, right? But she's also bringing up your graduation and to say that she was there as well. And this is your mother's mother, correct?
It is.
Okay. How do you connect? Because she wants to say she's making me write down 7. How do you connect to the number 7 or the month of July?
Oh my God. So, okay. So 7 is a very special number for me and my sister because I was born on March 14th, which is a duplicate of the number 7. And then she was born July 14th, which is also a duplicate of 7.
Oh my
My
God.
son was born on October 28th, which is a duplicate of 7 and a duplicate of 14, times 2. So 7 is like a very special number in our family.
Wow.
It's like a lucky number. It's like a lucky number.
It's a lucky number. Okay, awesome. And that is, so she's confirming for you this, right? That's saying, like, whenever you guys see the number 7 or the number 7 comes up, like, grandma is just kind of confirming that I'm there with the family always. And so what Spirit allows, what Spirit does is kind of bring things up that might seem insignificant to anyone else, but that you would know hold special meaning.
Oh, wow. Hi, Grandma.
Aww.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Yes. And so this is interesting because she actually wants, like, I don't know what your plans are in terms of, like, marriage, but, like, she wants, kind of like how people have this thing where, like, loved ones aren't there, but they're recognized. Like, she's like, that would be nice.
Oh, yeah, for sure. My mom, she's the only child from my grandma and my grandpa. And they were married for till death. They were married over 50 years. And so my sister and I are almost 11 years apart. So she has tons of memories with my grandma and grandpa. And I don't have any, except for when they were in the nursing home. And so my grandma is really the staple of my family. And she's like that focal point. And I hate that I never got to meet her. I met her, but I didn't get to, like, know her.
It's okay.
So I just always think it's so cool when people have their grandparents that are still alive when they're older.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is her way of just saying that she hasn't missed anything, right? That, like, these special moments that I'm bringing up, and that she's going to be there for your special moments, like, exactly. And this is, like, the important part. Like, you may have felt like I didn't get to meet her. Like, no, you didn't really, have that time physically. But she's saying in the spirit realm, like, she's been there the entire time, watching over her family still.
Wow.
For you to know this, right? So on the day that you get married, your grandmother is going to be there.
Yes, beautiful.
That is so.
And I was surprised. Like, and I tell people, like, look look for her, right? Like, not in the physical, right? So I was telling the client, I was like, you know, look, I was telling her that I think it was her grandmother was going to be there. And I was like, just look for her. I promise you, like, she's going to make her, you know, just look herself. And so what was so interesting was her and her wife were, they took this beautiful picture. And, like, somebody just took it on their phone. And, like, there she has a little necklace that almost looks like a marble. But the way this thing, like, lit up in this picture, like, you know it's something supernatural, right? Like,
wow.
And in it was, like, I don't know if it was, like, the grandmother's ashes or, like, something was in it, like, as it pertained to the loved one. But, like, to see the picture, like, everybody who sees the picture is like, oh, my God, like, it's unreal.
Wow.
Yeah. And so crazy. Just know, like, our loved ones are always with us.
Yeah, they are.
Wow. That was amazing.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Gosh. You're welcome. I am glad that your grandmother made her presence known to us. I know this was kind of short. I'm a little unexpected, but I tell people we always, you know, Spirit is like, will always give us what we need, even if it's in a small amount of time.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So, I just
beautiful.
Like
she's crying.
That's so awesome. I never expected that. So I'm like completely taken aback, especially with the number 7. Like, that's crazy. We always have said 7 is like our family lucky number, which, and then July is the number 7, you know, so it's just, it's crazy. So where can people find you? Like, what, you know, are you on, do you have any social media handles, websites? How can people find you?
Yes, absolutely. On social media, Instagram and Facebook are Lakara with the Gift. So it's Lakara with the Gift. And on YouTube, the actual series, we have 8 episodes of the Gift, the actual show. You can just search Lakara Foster TV or Lakara Foster the Gift. And they can binge watch all 8 episodes. Like, each episode is like anywhere from 5 to 9 minutes long, so they're not that long.
Yes.
And,
I saw a few, so y'all don't want to miss it. It's good because it hits people just like it hit Mia today, and just like taken aback. Like, yeah.
Taken aback.
So, yeah, so that's how people can keep in touch with me. Follow me, and, you know, we'll keep you all updated on what's going on. If people, again, if they want readings, that's the best way to get in touch with me, or email me at lacarawiththegift@gmail.com. And we'll get them booked for readings as well, so they get to have their own personal reading.
Awesome.
Cool.
Very
Thank
cool.
you so much. Please keep in touch with us. Maybe we can have you come back on the show. Like, we enjoyed this so much.
You guys are welcome. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys are in LA, right?
Well, we stream in. So, Whitney, I'm in LA, and Mia, she's in Nashville.
Oh, I love both of those cities. Awesome. Yes, awesome. Nashville hot chicken.
Oh, yes. There you go. Hot chicken. Shout out to Prince's, the original.
Like, every city I go to, I'd be like, oh, yeah, like, this, I like going for food. Like, I love food. So,
yeah.
Yes. Can't nothing beat New Orleans food, though. Man.
Oh, my God. I can't wait to go home for the holidays. Like,
I literally go to New Orleans to eat. No matter if it's Essence or just to trip to New Orleans, I go to eat. Like, it's amazing.
It's unbelievable. I think the food itself is magical.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
And so you said you're doing a tour in New Orleans soon, right? Or
Yep, I'll be kicking off the tour. Anticipated date is February 23rd, but I'll have more information within this next week, actually.
Okay.
But we're getting everything solidified, and so I think we'll have the venue's big enough for about 100 people, and so we're excited. I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be awesome.
yes. Well, y'all go check out Lakara Foster. She is the real deal. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for the Black Coffee and Tea podcast. And we will check you guys later.
Peace.
Thank you all so much for having me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All righty.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the Black Coffee and Tea podcast, available now on iTunes, Spotify, Souncloud, and YouTube.
And if you want to be a part of the BCT fam, make sure you follow us on Instagram at BCT Podcast.
Until next time.